Of all the fights, you've had 50. Who would you say was your toughest opponent?
You got guys that punch hard and hit hard, and you got guys that come out and win a few rounds, but nothing really was tough.
Floyd fired the referee in the middle of the bout. He stops the bout. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
Castillo got robbed.
Max Kellerman has stated his stance with total clarity. Known for quick analysis, he did more than offer a new take. He openly confronted a powerful name in sports and may have triggered a strong response that now divides supporters and forces people everywhere to question long-held views about the game and its icons from past eras and modern stars alike.
Ray Robinson, how many wins he got? I said he got like over 150 wins. He stopped for a minute. He said, but who got more championship titles? Me or him? I said, hold on, Floyd. He said, answer the question. I said, Floyd, there's more titles now than then. There was just one then. That's no fair. Answer the question. I said, okay, you. Do I not have 28 titles? And I was just like, I don't know. He said, oh, you're supposed to be the expert. But the reason why I said that is because there's minor and major titles. Who else greater than me? I said Henry Armstrong, Roberto Duran. He said, oh my God. I said, you said something about Pacquiao. Yeah, I said, I think you would beat Pacquiao every day of the week, but I think he had a greater career. He said, you ain't think Pacquiao was on steroids? I said, he didn't fail any tests, Floyd. He said, look at me in my eyes. I can't say, man, he didn't fail. He said, oh man, you fake. I saw that as a initiation. This is what you about to get. Nobody's greater than Floyd. My thing is, he should feel that way, but you can't expect everybody to feel that you're the greatest, Floyd.
He has spoken boldly with no restraint while he tries to dismantle the reputation of Floyd Mayweather fully today. He makes it very clear that from his perspective, there is now another unbeaten ruler standing alone at the very top of boxing.
Because, like, if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring them. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Oh, yes. That makes a difference to people.
Who did Floyd fight that was on his level when he fought? Only Canelo. That's it. Don't give me that stuff about the other guy that was going to prison. Cotto, all-time great? No. Cotto's all-time Puerto Rican great. You waited till Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez before you fought him. If you'd have fought him 4 years ago, it'd have been something. Because both of y'all were here. We'd have found out who the best was. He fought Shane Mosley at 38 years old, and it still was a good fight while he left. Shane almost took him out at 38. He fought Oscar De La Hoya at an old age. My point is, you didn't do it the right way. You know that. Who else did you fight besides them best two names you can pull up? I'm just saying, Floyd never fought nobody that was of his equal.
It started with soft talk, the kind that always follows a legend like Floyd Mayweather. Even after stepping away, his name still looms large over the sport, and every word he speaks continues to hold massive power and influence.
Provided everyone unrealistic expectations. You could win every fight, basically never get hit, and make all the money. It's not going to work like that for the most part for everybody, you know? Like, it literally only went that way for one guy.
I love Floyd, but it seems like everybody's afraid to have that O, to have a 1 or 2 where the O used to be. Ali follows.
As discussion grew around the current pound-for-pound leader Terence "Bud" Crawford, the Mayweather camp began to speak up and quietly raise questions about today's top fighter. It was not a direct call-out, but a series of measured remarks meant to remind people who once sat on the throne, yet what looked like a typical Mayweather tactic quickly set off a strong response. Max Kellerman, who knows Floyd's career from start to finish, heard those words and answered back with a level of force that caught everyone off guard.
Fighting everyone right up until the point where he started to make money. But as much credit as you get for making, the primacy of business, for making business your priority, well, that comes with trade-offs. Because when you make business decisions constantly, sometimes your athletic achievements won't be regarded in the same way as if you made athletic achievements your priority. That said, Mayweather has accomplished a tremendous amount athletically. But the three fighters he didn't fight, Antonio Margarito, Manny Pacquiao, when he was obliterating De La Hoya, Hatton, and Cotto, and Shane Mosley when he still had something left. And while he will wind up fighting Pacquiao and Mosley, it'll both be, at the right time for Floyd. That said, what about at the right, the right time for Floyd? He's also ancient. A fighter approaching 40, fighting at the level Mayweather is fighting, is unheard of. Mayweather, until recent times, would be considered one of the greatest older fighters. That would be the whole story. Oh my God, can you believe how old Mayweather is? It's a little bit unfair to Floyd. Say, well, you're picking these guys at the right time. Floyd is old.
This was not the steady review of history that fans were expecting. It was strong, open, and designed to shake the boxing world. The first surprise came when Kellerman addressed the comparison between Mayweather and Crawford. Rather than celebrating Floyd's flawless record, he delivered a remark that stunned many people. He said that Terence Crawford, through his non-stop push to fight the best competition, has already built a legacy that is deeper and more impressive than Mayweather. Kellerman then pointed to two very different paths. He portrayed Mayweather, especially after moving beyond lightweight, as a careful strategist both in the ring and behind the scenes. A boxer who closely guided his career by selecting opponents and choosing moments, often facing rivals after their best days had passed.
Pacquiao you're describing, who knocked out Ricky Hatton, who YouTubed Ricky Hatton, turned YouTube into a verb, what he did to Ricky Hatton, and then destroyed Cotto, and before that, and then just the way he beat De La Hoya even before that,
Well, De La Hoya was old though.
Sure, but Mayweather fought those guys basically at the same point in their career that Pacquiao did before them. Okay. And the reason that Mayweather-Pacquiao fight was hyped up to the extent that it was is that, boy, Mayweather's this all-time great, and Pacquiao is doing these guys even worse than Floyd is doing them. Everyone wanted to see that fight. That Pacquiao's been gone for a long time. So why don't fighters retire when they should?
He did not suggest it or dance around the idea. He stated it plainly and without hesitation. He then turned his attention to Crawford, and his tone changed to one of deep respect. He painted Bud as a genuine old-school warrior, someone who always sought hard tests and never stepped away from any challenge placed in front of him.
I put 5, that's right.
Wow. That's cheating.
I love it.
That is cheating.
That's a heel turn.
You the boss. That is heel.
That's a heel turn.
I love it. You got 5.
Now, here's the thing.
Wow.
Roy at his peak, just remember this. If Roy would have retired after the Ruiz fight, he would have replaced Sugar Ray Robinson as the greatest fighter of all time.
I agree.
Right? But he didn't, and the rest of that stuff is in there, right? So I get it. But Roy at his peak, I think, had a higher peak than anyone on this list.
I agree.
Okay, Manny Pacquiao, we've all said it a million times. I think he is, outside of Sugar Ray Robinson, I have Manny Pacquiao second greatest pound-for-pound fighter ever. Floyd Mayweather never lost. And did he cherry pick when and where? Yes. But guys, from 130, 135, he cleaned out 135. He beat the best guy at 130, beat the best guy at 135. Yes, did he pick and choose at 140, 47, and 54? Yeah, but he won all those fights.
That's right.
And he beat a lot of good fighters. And more than that, put Floyd at his best with anyone through history, you do not know who wins. Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao, it's true. Floyd is one of the top 10 greatest pound-for-pound fighters who ever lived. Tough to argue otherwise. But pound for pound, he can't be above Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was a flyweight champion. Not that he turned pro at flyweight. He was good enough as a flyweight to be the lineal champion, the real champion. Now, he didn't win titles in every division. He skipped some of these, but I just want to tell you how flyweight, junior bantam, junior feather, junior light, junior welter,
he's rapping again.
Junior middle.
He's rolling.
And he laid waste to these divisions. Yeah. He fought great fighters. He never ducked anybody.
Mayweather, no disrespect at all to him. He's one of my favorite fighters growing up. Love watching him fight. Perhaps the greatest boxing business person of all time. Yeah. Look at actual boxers in the business. But I don't want to see many fighters come out of retirement. He's done everything he can do. He's one of the best fighters of all time. Stay retired.
He pointed to Crawford's dominant victory over Errol Spence Jr. and his strong win against Canelo Alvarez as clear proof. In Kellerman's view, the willingness to face anyone at any moment was more than something to admire. He said it was the heart of real greatness and argued that this quality was missing during the later stage of Mayweather's career. That statement alone was enough to stir debate, but Kellerman was far from finished.
Floyd fired the referee in the middle of the bout. He stops the bout. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
Because he's the promoter also.
Well, I guess. I mean, also, it's Floyd Mayweather. Like, what's the referee going to do? Floyd throws this punch, and he's 100% correct. The punch landed the side of the head. It's a right hook. It's a perfect punch. And the referee was saying, watch the back of the head. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That wasn't the back of the head. And so he kicks the guy out. And they bring in a different referee who finishes the fight. It was insanity.
The full impact of this discussion, you have to remember that Kellerman has openly challenged Floyd Mayweather before. For years, their stories have been linked by one of the most discussed predictions in recent boxing, a shadow that still follows Kellerman. Long before the legendary fight with Manny Pacquiao, he was the most vocal and respected commentator, insisting that Mayweather would eventually lose. He repeatedly claimed that Floyd's well-known defensive style could not endure that time, and Ware would catch up to him, and his flawless record would eventually end.
Your top 5B?
Sugar Ray Robinson.
Number 1.
Yeah, and then pound for pound. See, Pacquiao he started as a flyweight champ. Not just he started his career there. He was the champion at flyweight and then moved up. There are so many divisions between flyweight and junior middleweight where he also won a belt. Even the fact that he could compete with Floyd Mayweather, who's a naturally bigger guy and one of the greatest pure boxers. Pacquiao's overall body of work, you could have him second pound for pound behind Sugar Ray Robinson.
How come I'm watching highlights of him knocking people out though, as little as he is, man?
Oh, that dude, it's the calves, man. He's got those fast twitchies and those big calves jump in on you and generate a lot of power. Crazy hand speed and power from a southpaw. Really awkward, hard to beat, lightning fast. Pacquiao was all that.
He was not merely predicting a defeat, he was forecasting a total collapse. Naturally, that never came to pass. Mayweather went on to beat Pacquiao decisively and retire without a loss, leaving Kellerman's bold warning to become a running joke among fans, a constant symbol of his supposed bias against Money Mayweather. This history makes the current debate even more charged, forcing everyone to question whether his praise of Crawford's legacy is genuine insight or a calculated move to settle an old score by redefining what greatness means. Just as fans were digesting his comments on Crawford, Kellerman broadened his critique, taking aim at boxing's most untouchable figure, Mayweather's pound-for-pound ranking. On a recent ESPN list that placed Floyd first for the century, Kellerman openly disagreed. He argued that pound-for-pound Floyd should not be ranked above Manny Pacquiao, citing Pacquiao's climb from flyweight to welterweight, dominating multiple divisions and never dodging any opponent as a historical accomplishment that Mayweather's carefully managed career could never equal.
Pacquiao wasn't able to make flyweight. He was a flyweight who won the lineal championship. So if that's not the most, or one of the 2 or 3 most impressive things in the history of boxing, the fact that he could move up, give me an example of another flyweight who was the lineal champion, moved up, won a bunch of titles in between, and then was that good as a welterweight. Pacquiao won lineal titles, indisputable. That's the man who beat the man, or else putting belts together. No one had ever done it before, ever. No one ever did that. No one ever came close to dreaming about doing that. And then Pacquiao did it. So the fact that Pacquiao is even competitive with Floyd Mayweather, who's one of the greatest pure boxers ever, do any of us believe that if they were the same size naturally, Floyd would beat Pacquiao? You really think that?
Kellerman was not the only one with this opinion. Rising boxing talent Ryan Garcia also joined the conversation, backing the idea and saying he has always placed Pacquiao ahead of Mayweather in his rankings.
It's my favorite, and you are right.
Yeah.
But he did beat Pacquiao, and nobody has changed the game like Floyd Mayweather.
He mastered the art of knowing when to fight somebody and when not to fight somebody. I mean, he's the best in that game. He's the best in, making money and making all the, the huge fights happen. But why? Because he was timing every single one of them. He never fought nobody really in their prime. He always...
After junior lightweight. Junior lightweight, he did.
Yeah, he changed the game in the worst way possible. You're right. Everybody's trying to protect their own. I had to break that, right, with Tank.
Like, that's one of my idols. Like, I really look up to Pacquiao. Like, people don't know, but, like, he's one of the people I look at. I'm like, man, like... This guy is everything I would want to be, as a career, as a fighter, because he did everything with such grace and he did, put up spectacular fights. He helped out his community. I'm trying to do things similar like that, but me, I'm more of I want to give back to, the younger generation. I want to help them with anxiety.
ありがとうございました。それでは、接触者ですね。スーパースターズボール。マリン・パッチャー選手、来年が
Having support from a current fighter added strength to Kellerman's point, showing that the divide exists not only among fans but also within top boxing circles. It questioned the modern focus on remaining unbeaten, suggesting that a perfect record might reflect careful opponent choices rather than pure talent.
Really say something negative, I could really say something positive. But when it's all said and done, and we all approach situations in a different way. Rather Tank was to win or he was to be on the other side and take a loss, I would have stood right there behind him, 100%. And it's no different from you guys seeing a lot of times Tank vent out on social media, but I'm right there. He's young. So if I'm with you through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I've always spoke about loyalty.
Nobody would do business with you if you act like this.
But it happens a lot in boxing, though, right?
Oh, yeah,
It
because
seems to be
it's
common in
strategic.
boxing. Yeah.
Floyd was telling him all these things.
Floyd's given this counsel to
Yes.
Devontae.
Who do you think is telling him to do the rehydration clauses and not, putting all these stipulations on me? You can't do this, you can't do that. The ring needs to be this size. It's Davis Garcia. It's not. But all these things were all by Floyd. Hey, this kid is different. You're gonna say he is different, and you're gonna say I have no worries on whoever he fights. You're going to say that. Just spend a week with me. That's all I say. Let's go hang out. Let's do what we do. You're going to see something different. And I'm not here to prove myself to nobody. At the end of the day,
no, bro. Even though people hate Floyd Mayweather, I love Floyd Mayweather. This guy is almost 50 years old, and he's still taking pictures with all his watches. When I go on a trip for 10 days,
I take 30 watches with me.
If I go on a trip for 20 days,
I take 10 more watches.
It's a 30-day trip.
Then I bring out the watch that costs $18 million.
And he pulls out this $1 million watch.
The internet erupted boxing forums, and Reddit threads, especially on r/boxing, became hotspots overnight. The response was immediate and sharply split. For every fan applauding Kellerman's courage, there was another condemning it as sacrilege. One viral post on the r/Bilseman subreddit said Max Kellerman just destroyed 30 years of trust in the boxing world over a single weekend. Many saw his comments as a break from his long-standing image as a respected boxing historian.
How much money could you reasonably walk out of this fight with?
350 million.
$350 million.
Yes.
Wow.
it's like, don't do that. You ain't Mayweather. Derek told me never to do that. And I was like, he'll never admit that, but he did say that.
Where did that come from then?
I was just doing it. I was just like, all right, let me see if this works. It kind of did. He really couldn't hit me for 2 or 3 rounds. Then he started figuring it out. And I'm like, forget this. I'm going to go back to being me.
Others, however, applauded him. They found old clips showing a nearly prophetic moment when Kellerman declared that Crawford had been the pound-for-pound best since beating Brady's Prescott. Looking back, this suggested his view was not a sudden opinion, but a belief he had held for years, now reinforced by Crawford's recent wins.
Fights never take place, or they take place too late, like Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. They fought too late. I mean, if that fight could have been arranged by Riyadh Season, they probably would have caught them both in their prime, and it would have been chaos.
Yeah, Manny was done before that. It was
and he also had a blown shoulder going into the fight. Yeah. He needed shoulder surgery before the fight even started.
The controversy proved that Kellerman had done more than offer an opinion. He had sparked a long-standing debate that had been quietly growing for years.
All the fights, you've had 50. Who would you say was your toughest opponent?
You got guys that punch hard and hit hard, and you got guys that come out and win a few rounds, but nothing really was tough. I've been in a boxing gym and guys have given me great sparring and great work. They say ass whooping will humble you. I go home and say, you got to tighten up, champ.
Yeah.
You got to get it together, champ. And then sometimes I go home and say, is this for me? I make mistakes, but I strive every day to be a perfectionist. And we all know God only made one thing perfect, and that's my boxing record.
Out of all the 50 fights I've had people always ask who gave me the hardest time. You face opponents who hit hard, and some who just take a few rounds without really testing you. I've trained and learned from fighters with incredible skill and discipline. They say losing teaches humility. I go home telling myself you need to sharpen up, champ. Yes, you have to stay focused, champ. And sometimes I ask myself, is this really what I want? I make mistakes, but I push myself every day to reach perfection. And we all know God only made one thing flawless, and that's my boxing record.
I remember that fight like it was yesterday. I do, being a big Floyd Mayweather fan. Floyd didn't really perform well. Castillo was just making it very tough on him. And I remember after the fight, the CompuBox numbers, and I remember the stats, and Castillo landing more power shots. And I was like, uh-oh, because being a fan of Floyd, I was like, man, Castillo, he landed the more effective punches. Then they had total punches, and Castillo landed more there. Floyd Mayweather had one arm against Castillo, and he lost. He clearly lost that fight. Why the judges call it how they called it, that's just boxing. But he lost that fight, okay? And he should. That's what happens. He was injured. Castillo, one heck of a fighter, pressured him and beat him. He should have gotten the nod. So I'm thinking, this is how I feel overall. Floyd Mayweather, he's undefeated officially. We will have to forever say that. He's 50-0. We can't lie. We can't change what it is officially. We can't call him 49-1, 48-2. The guy is 50-0. But Castillo got robbed.
And when you examine Mayweather's career, as Kellerman is urging everyone to do, critics often highlight one night when the Money Mayweather legacy almost collapsed. The date was April 20th. 2002, and the opponent was a tough, relentless champion named Jose Luis Castillo. For 12 grueling rounds, many felt Castillo did the unthinkable. He outworked Floyd, outpunched him, and even appeared to inflict more damage, with the unofficial HBO scorer Harold Lehman awarding the fight to Castillo. Yet when the official scorecards were revealed, it was Mayweather's hand that was raised in a highly controversial unanimous decision.
The way you beat Canelo tonight, Spence a couple of years ago, everyone is going to start making comparisons with your legacy to Floyd Mayweather. How do you feel you compare with Floyd with the resume you have now?
Listen, Floyd was the greatest in his era. I'm the greatest in my era. It ain't no need to compare me to Floyd or Floyd to me.
While Kellerman continues fueling the debate, even imagining a dream matchup between Crawford and a retired Mayweather to settle it, Crawford's respect for the sports legend stays strong. It's an interesting twist that adds complexity. Why would a fighter at his peak not fully claim the crown being offered? It highlights Mayweather's lasting influence, or perhaps Crawford's smart choice to rise above the drama. In the end, Kellerman did more than voice an opinion, but the real surprise isn't his stance. It's the reaction of the fighter he praised. The debate has grown beyond Mayweather versus Crawford. It has become a triangle of a heated argument, a legendary unbeaten record, and a current champion who may not even want the throne. It makes us question what it means when a fighter's own definition of greatness clashes with his strongest supporters. The boxing world is shifting, and the story has never been more compelling. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.